What's going on, guys? It's Michael Gascon, the horse guru. So happy to be on Better Horses, and today we are going to be talking about collection. I love to talk on the topic of collection because I feel like everybody uses the word and few of us know what it means. In my personal horsemanship journey, I knew I looked for it for a long time without really grasping the concept of what it is. We are here in Poplarville, Mississippi at our boot camp, our fall boot camp, and we are working with boot campers on more advanced maneuvers, and a lot of that starts with good collection in our horse. I'm borrowing my wife's trick riding horse, and she is a professional trick rider. So this guy is Cody. He's a quarter horse, and he gets hung off of, flipped upside down, goes under the net, all kind of things at rodeos and different entertainment skits. But also because of his day job, he has horrible collection. He likes to carry his nose out and up. He likes to carry his butt behind him because his full-time job is just letting ladies and glitter hang off the side of him. So nobody's really picking on collection. So we're gonna see about getting collection. I might even use an aid today, not because we need an aid for him, just to make that night and day difference. So instead of coming out and bringing one of our performance horses out, who is very collected, that's the only way they know how to move, we're gonna bring him out, and I'm gonna do a little demo, kind of send him around the round pen. No warm up, no prep, no anything. We're just gonna send him forward here. We'll probably do a little trotting. But what I want you to think about collection is simply the connection between the gas pedal and the brake. They respect our gas pedal enough to go forward. They respect our brake enough to give to the bridle. So I'm gonna ask him to trot off here. So I can see in the shadow there, and I can look at my horse, and you see his nose is up in the air, his butt's out behind him. He's about as long as he can be. He's about as long as he can be here, and quite frankly, this is his job. He goes with nobody touching the reins because trick riders are hanging upside down. Same thing with his canter here. See his nose out, look at his hocks behind him. This is kind of how this horse travels all over the place, just like this. And ho. Now, there's all kind of exercises that we could do to soften the horse, soften him, backing him, flexing him, bending him, but that's not the talk right now. The talk is I want to show you just night and day difference, collection from lack of collection. So that's a lack of collection there. So for the sake of clarity, I'm gonna change simply the reins to a set of draw reins, not for the purpose that he necessarily needs it, just for the purpose of I want to show you a night and day difference so that you can understand physically the difference on the horse when they're collected versus when they're not collected. And when we use that word collection, we use that for our gaited horses, we use that for our Western horses, we use that for our show horses. Dressage horses need collection. Gaited horses need collection. And collection simply means I want him to be shorter front to back. I want his nose to come in towards him, and I want his butt to come up underneath him. Any sport that we play, it doesn't matter what it is, it's some version of this. Tennis, boxing, baseball, football, basketball. Everything has to do with feet shoulder width apart, our knees bent, and our butt dropped. And when we do this, we're really going to become collected. This is a human being collected. Ready, ready, ready. Same thing with our horses. The reason that collection is so sought after is because when our horse is collected, they're better prepared to stop, to go, to spin, to slide, to change directions, to anything that we want to do. Canter off. So it's going to be the same thing for our horse. So I'm going to hop on him right here. This is a Western horse. So I have a set of draw reins, and I have the draw rein connected to the lowest part possible, which is the bottom of the cinch, because I want to draw his head downward. If I was trying to collect a dressage horse or a gaited horse with this same setup, I would have the ends of the reins a little higher because their collection is going to be higher up in the bridle. So that's what we're going to be looking for. So I'm just going to flex him here, make sure he's comfortable being flexed, and look, immediately that draws his head downward. Now, whenever I ask him to walk off, at this point, we have a horse that's already colt started, already riding around, already has a day job. So now we're starting to put two hands on him. I'm a professional colt starter and problem horse solver. So understand, these folks are in a boot camp. They've already made it through a confidence retreat, so they understand the basics of getting your horse to do the right thing. So much of that is one-handed, controlling their face and butt left and right. You have to get the horse where they're comfortable with you on their back. They can go any speed that you want, uncollected, without two hands. We don't want to stop picking on how they go before they're willing to go. So if we start trying to put their head down to get them soft and easy before they're willing to go, that's where we run into issues. So we always want to do a good job on the fundamentals first, then we get to this stage and I can start saying, okay, your head's down, you're soft and easy. My legs are wrapped up on them, I'm going to tell them trot, trot. And you just see the difference immediately in his ability to be able to look how much shorter he is from his nose to his butt. And I'm able to send him around here like this. The other thing is when we're riding uncollected horses, when we're riding colt starts, a lot of times we're sitting more forward in the saddle and we're thinking trot, and we're sitting up here over their withers. Well, if you think the front, the middle, and the back, if you sit on a pool noodle, both ends come out. So for him, to get him collected, watch how I'm gonna sit back. Look at the speed change. I didn't do anything different other than shift my weight from his withers to his butt, and he came back to me and made it a lot easier to slow him down. I didn't even try to slow him down. I just shifted my weight. The other thing is whenever we're riding green horses, a lot of times we're standing up in our stirrups and keeping our legs stable. When I'm collecting a horse, I want my legs to wrap up on them. That's gonna drive their butt further under them. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start circling him and seeing if I can get the exact same circle. There we go. And look how subtle and quiet this work is, but just night and day difference. And we didn't change the bridle. We just have a D-ring snaffle on him. We had a D-ring snaffle on him earlier. The difference was we weren't being clear that we wanted him to be behind the bridle, soft and easy. And now, notice, nothing changed from our walk departure to our trot departure. Now, when we ask for a canter, it'll be the same thing. Sit on our butts. When we have our collected horse, if we want him to canter off, we're going to the right, him to move off on the right lead. The foot that needs the most elevation is the front right foot. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to take our weight and put all of our weight over the foot that needs the most elevation. Also, the back left foot is the push leg. It's the last leg to leave the ground. It doesn't make sense that we take our weight off of that foot. So I'm gonna sit back, a hair to the outside, canter. Guy comes around here and picks up the wrong lead, trot. So this guy's trying to get accustomed to moving like this because he's spent years as a trick riding horse with his nose out, not being touched. There we go. So if he can move like that for 10 steps, he can move like that for 10 miles. It's just a matter of making him comfortable there. Look how I really sit back over his butt. So whenever he has his nose out and his chest poked out, he's not very good at stopping. He's not very good at turning. He leans into those turns. Whenever we have his butt under him and we can move his face the way that we want to, we can pick up those shoulders. And I'm looking at that saddle and I want the horn to be pointed towards the heavens, straight up. I don't want it pointed to the inside. Trot. There we go. So right there, the second we let our foot off the gas, He wanted to plant his feet in the dirt. Oh, there we go. So yesterday we were riding around, we were working power of the circle, which is just walk, trot, canter in a circle, and not really worried about collection yet, just making sure all the horses in the boot camp are on the same page. And he was one of the lesson horses in it, and he couldn't stop, he couldn't put his butt in the dirt. We would say ho, and the rider would go 3 or 4 strides, and they start scotching, meaning they're planting their front feet trying to stop, and they're bouncing off. Look at, with his head down, that adrenaline pump off, because when their pole goes below the withers, it releases endorphin that kills adrenaline. It makes them so calm and quiet that the second we take our foot off of the brake, we have a horse that stops so easily. We have a horse that breaks down so easily. The same horse with his head up and his nose out and his chest out, nose up, chest out here, kind of hollow backed. That horse is, his adrenaline pumps on. You know, when you see the horses running in the field, they're all like this. His adrenaline pumps on, he's trying to go faster. He's not staying with us, waiting for us to tell him. And then the next thing, since his belly's down and his feet are behind him, he has a hard time, when you say, whoa, stopping and putting his feet under him because his belly's there. So he ends up trying to stop with his front end, and then you're bouncing out of the seat. So if we can give him a few sessions of this where he gets comfortable carrying his head low, he gets comfortable staying off of the bridle and not pulling through it, all you got to do is take your legs off and he just plants his feet into the dirt. Give him a little soak session right there. Let him think about the softness. I love to see that. Love when we touch a bridle that they soften up. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Just when walking, you see how I sit flat on my butt, on my tailbone. I want to sit however I want my horse to sit. So if I want him to have a rounded back, especially in the education process, obviously he's wearing a draw rein, so you know he's still in the schooling part of it. If I want him to have a rounded back, I start by having a rounded back. If I want him to be sitting back over his butt, I have to sit back over my butt. I'm going to lead him there. No changes. Ask for a trot. Trot. Good boy. No changes again. Push him to the rail. Canter. Now he's still thinking faster. I'm gonna canter him around here until I feel like I'm pedaling him, until I feel like I'm pushing him, not holding him back. Right here, I feel like I'm holding him a little bit. Like if he could, he would go faster. I'm gonna go around here just a couple laps. If he gets heavy in my hands, I just move his nose to the inside and release. Move his nose to the inside and release. There we go. You see him downshift there? There we go. I'm gonna ask for that trot. There we go. And ho. There we go. You see in that trot how he just sits on his butt? It's because he's shaped up correctly to do so. Whenever I have a horse that's looking for the stop and they're just trying to plant on you every time you take your feet off the gas pedal, you don't want to get too stoppy to the point where anytime you move or anytime you talk to your friend or anything like that, they just stop on you. So that's the purpose of the breakdown to the trot. He thinks we're going to come up here and stop. So we want to make sure that he thinks we're going to stop, we say trot. And that's that little hitch in his giddy up. The softer he gets in the face, the more collected he is, the easier it is for him to move his body. He stops on his butt so he can turn on his butt. He can move his front end around. There's not a sport, not a discipline that exists that the horse being collected in some shape or form, their nose being in and their butt being in, it doesn't make them better. So we want to make sure that that horse being in an athletic position, we're getting the very best out of our horses. You saw here with the set of draw reins, but there are 1,000 ways to gain collection, and we could absolutely just do it with the snaffle, but we would have a hard time doing it in such a short video. Guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'm Michael Gascon, the Horse Guru. If you get a chance to come hang out with us in sunny South Mississippi, in Poplarville, Mississippi, we would love to have you at one of our retreats. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Better Horses.